You did it.
I did it. Theme song. Theme song. Theme song for when wife gives you lemons. Theme song.
All right.
No?
I don't know. What was it?
It's a theme song.
I liked it. Sure.
It's that song, Freak Out. Isn't that what they say?
Aw, freak out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome to When Wife Gives You Lemons-ish.
Hi.
So, let's see. I'll start with, it was a busy, long, fast, short, long weekend. Well, it was because, so Christmas, we bought Caleb tickets to go to the last final NoFX show in San Pedro. It was 3 days. So it was like a 3-day punk rock festival. A bunch of bands. It's out of control. Of course, he needed a chaperone to go with him. So, of course, I went with him.
John had the best Christmas last Christmas.
I really did because my kids needed some.
You got to go see racing.
Christmas is the best for me. I'm a spoiled baby. So anyway, and we stayed on the Queen Mary for the weekend. So, we didn't see any ghosts though then, but pretty cool.
But you did hear people screaming because they had like the mazes and
that's
stuff.
Right.
That's
it was
fucking
right outside
amazing.
Our window. Like
it's amazing.
You'd open our portal. It wasn't even a window. They opened the portal. And it's funny because there's no bars or anything on the window. So if you fell out, you'd just go in the water anyway. They're like, what are you going to do? Suicide into the water, dummy? Right?
That freaks me out.
But you can't fall very far.
Doesn't matter.
Good day.
Scares me.
Anyway, so we got there Friday morning, and by we got there at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, kind of cruised in, took our time, got the souvenir run the first day that we didn't have, and of course I was the one that had to carry everything. Mm-hmm. For me, Jamie, for everybody, I was the bitch.
You're the dad.
Mm-hmm.
You're the consummate dad.
So I dadded and I held everything for the first night, but I told him, I was like, I'm doing this the first night, so I don't have to do the shit any more of the rest of the weekend. So we got down into the pit area, and there's 2 stages. So they got one stage going, and this one stage is kind of warming up and getting ready, and there's people kind of meandering.
Mingering. I like mingering.
Meandering around. They're meandering, right? There's a little crowd.
I'm mingering.
And there's this really, really drunk guy.
Uh-huh.
Like he's fucking hammered. He can barely stand himself, and you can just tell he's just annoying drunk. And he keeps pushing into this big, giant, bearded, biker-looking dude who's kind of up at the front row kind of thing. And there's only it's open. There's not a lot of people in the area right now. So, and he keeps falling into this dude. And finally the dude's like, dude, what the fuck, man? Right? And he kind of just pushes him away from him. Well, the dude's all drunk and he falls down and he cracks his head on the freaking asphalt so hard. And my friend Dennis was looking away, and I go, oh my God. He goes, what was that? And I go, that was that dude's head that hit the ground. So, and then the guy's, of course, talking shit to this biker dude, and the biker dude's just like, dude, just go away. Because you could just tell the guy's like, dude, I don't want to hurt you. Go away. So finally the drunk guy moves over, and he's still kind of trying to talk shit to the big guy, and he's meandering into the crowd, this other part of the crowd. Mm-hmm. And then I don't know if he fell into a girl or something, but this girl pushed him, and he fell down again and hit his head again. Bam! Same way, but just as hard. But this time now his head is split open. He's bleeding all over the place. And he's still trying to stand there no, I'm good. I'm good. And people, dude, I'm like, oh my God, this guy's so concussed. Finally, 2 people talked him into going to the medic tent. Because they had a medic tent.
Of course they did.
So, and then your child was gone. He'd hang out. We hung out with me for a while, and then he's like, I'm gonna go. I really want to go check this band out. And then I was like, the first time I saw him, he looked like a lost kid that had come out of a river. He was so sweaty and wet. He came out after band. He was like, need some water, dude? So finally, the rest of the weekend we had him a bottle set up. So anyway, so he comes running out, and he'd go back in, and he'd run out, and he'd go back in. And during the Dropkick Murphys, then they were wild. Dropkick Murphys were awesome. If you ever get a chance to see them, they're fucking rad. Right? Anyway,
I love the Dropkick
so they were. I mean, that place was going bananas, and somebody got hurt. Of course, I'm on the outside, and I was talking to Uncle Jamie and Dennis, and I'm like, I need to go look. I need to just make sure it's not mine. Right? You just, your dad, you just automatically, I gotta go look. So I wander over, and I kind of meander around the pit. Meander. I like that's like I said.
I like mean green.
So I'm mean green around, and then so I okay, it's not. I realize okay, it's not mine, and I start walking away. They start they start going again. It's not even 2 minutes. Boom, they stop. Somebody got hurt again. They're like, damn it. Even the band's like, what the fuck, right? Like, you guys are pussies, right? I'm like, of course, this one's definitely got to be mine, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm waiting. So I was walking away from the medical area. I walked back. And I'm standing there. And then they're getting ready to restart. They hadn't quite restarted yet. And they were getting ready to. And here I see Caleb come wandering out of the pit. And he's got blood running down his face. And I'm like, he must have saw my face like, what the fuck? And he goes, don't worry, Dad, it wasn't me. He goes, here, and he hands me a tooth, and then goes, it wasn't me. And then he ran off, right back in the middle again, and I didn't see him again until the end of the night, pretty much. We had a meeting spot, and we would meet him there every night. That's where we'd end up.
He just had, this kid had the time of
So that was the first night. That was just the first night. So then we got back, and
I'm slouching. I'm sorry, guys. I'm tired.
I know we slept it off, and then the next day we got breakfast. And went back over there, wandering. Of course,
mean green.
Of course, the first day we got there, I found a parking spot, and as we started to get out, and I saw the traffic. I have the special skill. For those of you who don't know, I have a really, really rare special skill that allows me in and out of parking lots like a fucking motherfucker. Yeah. Any event. I don't know
what's funny is
every once in a while it doesn't happen, but my odds are very high.
You know what's funny is I was talking to someone about this, and she's like, I have a weird special skill where I can look at any sauce or any leftover and know exactly what container. And she goes, and my husband, every time he doubts me, like, that's too small, that's too big. And she's like, have you not learned to trust me yet? And I go, that's funny. John has one where he can get out of packed parking spots. And I go, I have one where if I need like 10 sheets of paper or any like amount, I will normally for like 97% grab the exact amount of shit that I need. So
we start to pull out, and I kind of pull into this little line, and it's kind of trafficy, and I'm looking at it, and it's all stalled up, and I'm looking, and I watch this car behind me. I'm looking, and I go, there's taillights behind me. How can I get there? And I'm watching, and I'm looking in my mirror, and I go, you know what? I'm going to try something. And I throw it in reverse, and I turn around, and I find there's this little tiny road, and it turns right into this line, and it's where the people pick up and drop off for rideshare. So I drove right to the end, turned left, and I was gone. So the rest of the weekend, I set myself up to park near these spots, right? So I could do this. And the last day, they tried to make me park up front, and I parked, and then I went over and talked to the security guys and the parking guys, and I go, listen, I want to tell you what my plan is.
Okay.
So I explained to them what my plan was, and I handed them $20, and I said, this will buy you guys each your beer. I go, I want to park right here. And they go, okay. They're like, okay. But it was once I explained to them, they're like, oh, that's cool. I haven't even noticed that all weekend. I go, I know, nobody has. And that's why I keep taking it. So anyway, it worked out awesome. I saw a couple people take it after me. But anyway, so that was cool, that move. Anyway, that was first night. Second night we got there. What exciting happened in the second day? I ran into a good friend of mine, Brandon, and my friend Scott, a Scooter. We used to call him Scooter.
You and Brandon have matching tattoos.
Yeah, well, we have not even matching, not even close. Anyway. So got to see Brandon and Scott, which was pretty cool to see those guys because I haven't seen those guys in a long time. We got to hang out for a while. I went down to the pit I went down to the front with them during Descendants and bounced around, and then I went back to the pit, and then I found Caleb and I jumped on his back, and And then I started pitting around with him, and then the song ended, and he gave me a big old hug. Like he gave me a big old hug. I was like, oh, my little baby boy, my little giant baby boy.
He's this child is,
but it was cool.
massive.
I got to be honest, it was probably one of my favorite moments with any of my kids. Honestly, it really was. It was such a cool little moment.
I will say your oldest was so jealous.
Well, he should be.
Because he came to...
But you know what? They sing about anti-God stuff, too, so...
He came and changed his brakes because they're in Arizona. I need to call and make sure they got there safe.
He texted me.
Okay, good. And he's like, where's Dad? Where's Dad? Because he's changing brakes. Where's Dad? Because, Dad changes brakes. And I was like, oh, it's Caleb's Christmas present. And he's like, oh, they're going to go get a car. And I go, no.
NoFX.
I go, it's NoFX for... And he's all, oh, yeah. And you just see him like...
Dude, it was awesome though. And so it was cool. So the Descendants were fucking awesome, by the way. If you don't know the Descendants, they're really cool. They're an awesome band. It was cool to see them live. Anyway, so they rocked out, and then I rocked out a little bit with Caleb, and then I got out and hung out with the boys the rest of the night, and then NoFX came out and did their second night. Their first night, they did a bunch of songs. They were like, yeah, these are just the worst ones of the weekend. We're going to get better through the weekend. And they played some great songs, so it was a great set. Second night was awesome. They played good. Third night was hard. So the third night. So the show was great. I lost Caleb. It was like, I think the Subhumans are getting ready to come on, Dad. I'm going to go. Bye. So he was out in the Subhumans pit. Honestly, I don't think I saw Caleb maybe twice. I saw him eating, and I sat down and talked to him for a while.
Did he have money?
Yeah, he bought his own food sometimes. I gave him $40 at one point, but he was buying his own stuff when he needed to.
Oh, that's right. He works.
Kind of.
I get that.
So anyway, so Pennywise was fucking rad. All the bands were kick-ass. NoFX came on, start their last set, and every night they started their set with fucking the Rocky Horror Picture Transvestite song. Why can't I think of the song?
Sweet Transvestite?
Yes.
Yeah.
So every night.
I've seen Jay Farrow do that.
Every night they started with that.
That's
but
amazing.
They didn't play it. Like it was playing over, and then they'd come out and just start, right? So then they get started, and they do their show. Oh, and I forgot. There was a moment in the second night where, so one of my favorite bands on the planet was No Use for a Name. And the lead singer died a bunch of years ago. So anyway, he has a song that he posted. It's called "I'm So Sorry," sorry Tony or whatever, and it's kind of about like losing your best buddy and not really being there for him in the right way at the end. So I kind of always felt that way when Daryl passed, and so that song really hits me hard, right? Not only is it like a band I love, it's like fuck. So I get I just kind of hit out in the back a little bit emotional, left by myself, right? So I got you through that. And I was like, that's stupid. Right? So the next day. That was
you happy in pants?
I wasn't very happy in pants. I was sad in pants. So the next day, day three, we wake up and we go through the day, right? And the show's going, and I know that they are ending with The Decline, which is like their masterpiece song. It's an 18-minute jam, and it's like, it's just badass. So anyway, I know they're going to do it, and like, I swear to God, like, as soon as the first note hits, there's, lines of like 50-year-old punk rock dudes hugging and like tearing up through the song, right? Like nobody could even really, like, they rocked it out, it was great. But like by the end of it, I mean, people were hugging each other. I mean, like it was like and I'll be honest, like for me, it was super, like I definitely, I'm not gonna lie, I definitely teared up because it's like part of me died.
I get that.
Like part of me died that night, and it just sucks because I knew it, right? So you're like, so it just hurt, right? So anyway, I felt like I was mourning a friend. So even now, like I still feel like I'm kind of mourning that friend, right? I lost because it was like their music meant a lot to me in my younger years. I mean, that's 30 years of listening to them. They're a 40-year band. I've been listening to them for like 32 of those. So it was very emotional, very tough. Even, me and Dennis were like, It was, and then afterwards, it was, like Mike came down. He was like hugging the crowd. He was hugging everybody. Everybody was crying. Like, it was crazy. Like, I was like, this is bananas. Who would have fucking thought like this punk rock band has got people like crying, right?
Right.
I mean, like, I can still get emotional right now. Like, it hurt. Like, it was just, there was so much emotion in it. So it was cool because the last song, like, Pennywise was out there. They were all out there playing guitars and singing with them to finish the song. So it was like all these bands that were been there through thick and thin, Bad Religion. Like, they were all there, like cheering Goldfinger. And so they were all, they're singing and bouncing off. And then Fletcher, the guitarist for Pennywise, grabbed a hold of this guy, Mike. I can't remember his last name. He's a singer of MXPX, who's a very good. If you guys don't know who MXPX is, because they're really good. And he grabbed his bass and he just started smashing it to pieces on the stage like a rock star.
Put your pot.
So it was really funny.
Put your pot.
Damn it, dog. So yeah, so then we saw him smashing stuff, and then we kind of hung out and meandered.
Mingled.
Mingered.
Mingering.
We mingered around a little bit, at the end, and just kind of hung out and watched and kind of like dealt with it and kind of soaked in. And okay, so they have an album that's called "So Long and Thanks for All the Shoes," right? So they had this, and the album cover like Neapolitan. It's like chocolate. You've seen that cover, I'm sure. So they had this gigantic carpet. I mean, this carpet was fucking massive, right? Massive. And they had this like kind of like stage thing, set up. But it said, so before the end of the weekend, everybody started throwing their shoes up over it. Like, so long and thanks for all the shoes. So everybody was throwing their shoes up over it. There was like 30 pairs of shoes hanging off the top of that thing when we left.
Aww.
It was cool. It was cool. And it's funny because now I'm seeing a lot of posts from it. Now people are like, some people are like, it was emotional for me. It's like part of me died that night. And then other people are like, you guys are fucking pathetic. It's a fucking band. They'll be back together in 3 years. And I'm like, dude, this is how I know they are not real NoFX fans. Because the real ones know they're done. They're done, dude. They're done. They're all pushing 60 years old. They're all doing fine. They've all made good livings. They all, if they want to start new projects, they're going to have great followings, no matter what they do. So
Fat Mike's got the museum
he's got all sorts of shit. He's got a real estate license and all sorts. Like, he's really a smart guy,
right?
And Hefe, he does a lot of acting. He was doing acting in that Mayan show for a while too, as well. He's the other guitarist. And then Melvin, he's just a musician. He's a badass musician. So I think he has his own project. And I don't know what Smelly's doing, the drummer. I mean, but they all seem to have, gotten enough to. If they needed work, somebody would hire him in a heartbeat. Right. But it was funny though. I heard Hefe say something he goes, "What? Goldfinger's here?" Like, he said something. He's like, "What? Goldfinger's here?" He goes, I'm free after tonight. He goes, as a matter of fact, I'm free after the song. And it's funny because today, some like super punk group just jumped out today, and he's going to be a guitar in it.
Oh, that's cool.
Like, that's like 3 days later. I was like, oh shit. So anyway.
Britton and Gina have a friend. They call him Wheelchair Russ. I think his Instagram is Russ on Wheels. And he was backstage, and he live streamed a lot of it. Yeah. And he's like, oh, shit. I was like, yeah, John and Kayla were there. And he's like, oh, shit, Wheelchair Russ was there.
That's cool. So, okay, so I got the fall down guy. I talked about all the old guys crying. Lady Gas. Oh, that was funny. So I have NoFX Giants in the Pit. So I thought was really funny, and it reminded me. Hold on. It reminded me of there's a movie. And Role Models. In the movie, yeah. Right. So in the movie Role Models, when they're doing the LARPing, and they're all in the LARPing contest or whatever, and at the end of the LARPing contest, and the guy's like, he's like, oh, wait, we were going too hard, and he goes, hey, you're really good. This is really fun, right? And he's like, yeah, come back, check it out with us again, right? So I see these giant dudes, these gigantic men with like these spiked hair, like spike pieces everywhere. Like, they cut their hair for the show for this, right? Like mohawks and just like spikes everywhere and shit. And like you see them and they're like, hey man, it was really great. It was like really great pitting with you, man. Good job, man. It's great meeting you, man. Take care. Like, it's like they were going back to business. They were like, all right, man. See you later, bro.
That's how I feel Caleb was. You know, Caleb made friends.
Oh, he made friends everywhere. Everybody knew him. Everybody in the pit knew him.
Yeah.
Like my friend, like Brandon and Scott knew he was in their pit, and they'd met him on the outside, so they saw him in there, and they'd go and bang into him a little bit, and talk some smack and play with him a little bit, and so like it was cool. It was a lot of fun.
He's a fucking cool kid.
Yeah, so they did that, and they had the shoes, and then the dude fell down. And then the Mohawk and the nice guys and the Giants in the pit. Oh, and there was a bondage lake.
Thank you. I've been waiting for you to tell me about this.
So,
because Maddie posted a picture of it.
I just didn't understand why. Okay, so she had her little tent set up.
Mm-hmm.
She had her little.
It's bondage massage.
Yeah, she had her little thing set up, and if you wanted to get flogged, she'll flog you. But you're paying her to do all this stuff. And in front of everybody right there, and I was, who the fuck's like, I'm going to NoFX. Dude, I want to get fucking flogged right now.
So it's not that they think that. They get there and they see it and they're like, that's available.
That's awesome.
And she was beautiful. Like the picture, she was pretty.
I thought it was funny. I thought it was super funny, like silly.
I would totally tie people up and stick my... I was telling somebody about it today.
Yeah, you're like, I'll stick my finger in their ass.
If you let me, I would. Like, if you gave me permission.
You don't.
Okay, so... But, yeah, I would tie people up and, like, stick my elbows in them. I mean, I know the pressure points. It's not like I would hurt them. I would actually feel good.
I watched her, like, lay him down on the thing, like, tie his hands up and, like start giving a little psh, psh, psh. See,
that's not massage. I would massage.
Oh, no, but that's what she was doing. She was, like, dominatrixing a little bit. It was more like that, less massage. It wasn't really massage.
See, I would tie them up.
But it was, like, bondage. She was, like, bondaging.
Yeah, I would tie them up and then stick my elbows in them.
Oh, no, yeah. She was, like, flogging them.
See, so her and I would have two different setups. It's fine.
So that was, I thought that was buck wild to think, awesome. Like, who's there? And, like, the dudes I see on there, like, come on, bro.
Amazing.
They're like, what bands are playing? I'm only here to see somebody else. So, yeah, and so there was that, and then the thing I had about the gas was watching this lady in her car. This was yesterday, I think. But she was in her car at the gas station, and she was on the wrong side, right? So she tried to stretch it, and she couldn't get it stretched. And, like, she kept trying, and she couldn't figure out how to get it stretched to the wrong side of the car. Uh-huh. And then she starts looking like, well, shit, I got to do something. So she's staring at the thing. She's staring at the pump. She's staring at that. And she doesn't want to put the pump back. So she lays the pump on the ground. And then gets in her car and turns around and then comes back. I was like, man, if the fumes were coming out of that thing at that moment, it would have been like a ba-boom. It would have been awesome.
A ba-boom.
It would have been awesome. I was like, it's awesome. Check it out, Brody. Check it out.
Well, also, let me just tell you, you called me at one point and you're like, yeah, this guy Frank Turner's on stage and he's pretty cool. He doesn't really fit, but it's really cool.
I like him.
But here's the thing.
You told me
months before, I was massaging a guy who I massaged today and told you, hey, this guy told me about this guy Frank Turner, and I actually sent you a link for you to check him out.
That I never listened to.
Apparently. But I was like, I told you about him.
Well, thanks for telling me about him. He's pretty awesome.
Also, I figured out something today, and I almost don't want to tell you. There's another song I've been singing really, really incorrectly.
Oh, please do.
It's bad, though. Did you know it's my boyfriend's back? And you're going to get in trouble?
Yeah.
Okay.
You didn't.
I've been singing that song wrong.
You did not. You did not.
The longest time, John.
My boyfriend. And you're going to get in trouble.
Hey now.
Let me guess where you learned. Let me guess where you learned those lyrics from.
No one. That's what I thought it said.
Somebody like...
And nobody corrected me, ever.
Because they laughed at you.
Probably. I always thought it was a really messed up song.
You're like, Jesus, this song is racist.
It is, and even they do the, hey now, my boyfriend's back.
With an L.
Uh-huh.
You can say the word black. It's okay.
Yeah, but not in that song. I never sing that song because of that. And then somebody started, like, my boyfriend, and they're like, back. He's back. And I was all... I was in the other room, and somebody was talking out. It wasn't even the same conversation, and my face went...
Oh, I better not tell anybody, but you just told all 7 people.
And then I Googled it. Because I was like...
And you found out?
That I was wrong. I'm 43 years old, and I have been singing it wrong.
I wish I could have heard you singing it. That would have been amazing.
And then, so let me tell you about my weekend. Well, John and Caleb are having the fucking time of their lives.
It was amazing.
Brody was sick all last week. Like I think he only went to school one day. And so on Friday, he's like, Mom, I'm so sick. I'm so sick. And he was supposed to go to practice. And I was like, okay. So I take him to urgent care in the morning, and they swab his throat for strep throat, but he's tongue-tied, so it's really hard for him to put his tongue down. And I told the lady that, I'm like, you're going to have to use a tongue
depressor.
Thank you. Dispressor. And she was like, and I was like, okay.
Really? Does she have like some severe something?
Yeah. Her boyfriend came back.
My name is nice.
So anyway, they came back. They're like, the strep throat is negative. And the guy's like, oh, he has hand, foot, and mouth. And I'm like, he's 13. That's a child's.
Right. That's why we were like, what the fuck?
So I called John, and Brody is just crying because they told him he couldn't play on Saturday.
He couldn't play his football game.
He couldn't go to practice, and he was hurting. So they're like, just take Motrin. And I'm like, okay. So I get him home. He cries all night. I'm up all night with him. And I was like, oh my God. And then I go to work on Saturday. I knock him the fuck out. I give him drugs, knock him out. And then I go to work and I come back and he's like, it's awful. It's awful. And I was like, fucking man up. Like, I feel bad, but I was like, fucking come on. So then finally at like 7:30, he's like, Mom, it's so bad. And he's crying. And you called me while he was crying. And I was like so overwhelmed. And the whole weekend I was like, I want John to have fun. Like, I want John, I don't want to ruin this because I always ruin shit. And I was like, I'm not going to ruin this. And then you called and I just shouldn't have answered the phone. But I was so overwhelmed. And it was right when you got out of the pits with Caleb and you're like, it was the best time. And I'm like, I hate you right now. So, and you're like, just take him to the ER. Just take him to the ER. By the way, Kaiser is contracted with Henry Mayo, so we don't have to drive to Panorama, by the way.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so anyway.
I don't trust Henry Mayo, but
I drove him back to urgent care because they said it closed at 8:30. I'm fucking exhausted. So we go in, and I'm like, it's getting worse. I don't know what to do. Like, I hope he's not being a little bitch. Like, and she's like, okay. And she's like, I'm going to swab his throat. And I was like, he's tongue-tied. And she goes, okay. And she fucking stuck that swab in his throat and gagged him. Like, I know for a fact. And she's all, if it's not strep throat, she's like, we're going to have to test him for mono because he's sick. And I was like, okay, cool. They lost 34-0 in their game. It was just awful. So she finally, and I'm like dying and he's crying. And then she goes, he's positive for strep throat. And I was like, okay. So they gave him steroids because it was so swollen and so red and so bad. And then she's like, okay, in 24 hours, the antibiotics will make you start feeling better. And he goes, and he could barely talk. He's like whispering. He goes, so if you would have diagnosed me with strep throat yesterday and given me the antibiotics yesterday, I'd already be feeling better right now. And she goes, yeah. And he goes, okay. He was pissed.
And she knew, she was like, did this 13-year-old just call me a bitch?
Also, he's almost 14. They reminded me. So we go, and then they were giving him a lidocaine mouthwash, but they're like, oh, we can't make that tonight. It's too late. You'll have to come back. And I was like, fine. So we take the antibiotics. He gets in bed with me. And he refuses to swallow, so every, 10 minutes he's getting up and spitting in the bathroom. And I am, dead on my feet, dead ass exhausted. And then I got maybe an hour of sleep, and then I went to work, and everybody's all, you look bad.
You're like, gee, thanks.
Like, I'm so tired. To the point I almost canceled someone and took a nap on my massage table. I almost did because I was like, he's not home. He's not here. So I get home and he's fine. He's like, I'm not feeling any better. And I'm like, yes, you are, because his voice was coming back. And then finally, because he can swallow, I gave him Benadryl because I was like, fucking go to bed. And then I knocked ass out. And then you came in the bedroom, and I must have been in like a weird twilight because you scared the fuck out of me because I was all. I was so tired.
So there was this moment when we were walking in on Saturday, and we got there like a little after noon. So we're rolling in, and there's a line, right? There's this line, and it goes fucking forever. It's from the main gates, but there's like 10 wide, right? But somewhere along the line, somebody decided there's a line, and now this line is going almost to the parking lot where we're parked, which is almost like over a quarter mile away. So we're walking up, we're like, fuck, a fucking line, and Dennis and Jay are like, fucking line, and I look at Caleb and I go, there's people parked on the other side. They got to go, and they're just fucking walking. I go, fuck this. And I walk across the street, and Caleb goes, I'm going with you, Dad. And we go across. We're inside. Hey, man, where are you guys at? You guys might want to cross the street, dude. We've been in here for 10 minutes.
Nice.
So they finally took my advice and went. So the next day, everybody was lined up on the other side. So we stayed on this side and walked in.
So tell them that you stayed on the Queen Mary, and Queen Mary's also doing scare nights right now.
Yeah, they are.
So they got to hear like people screaming from being scared, and I think that's amazing.
It was fun. I was actually all night. Like they went till 1 a.m, so it was loud, and they had music.
I would have been laughing.
It was. You know what? We kept like poking her, like open up, and you could see the line for the maze that's on the ship that they have, which is probably terrifying. But it was okay. So something else I noticed on this ship. They have a couple of restaurants, like a couple of nice restaurants on either side of the ship, right? One's called Winston's, named after Winston Churchill, who he had visited the ship, blah, blah, blah. And then the other side was...
Churchill's.
Like the Royal something or other, right? So there's two fancy restaurants. And I was looking at the menu because I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, what would I get here? So I'm looking at the menu.
Chicken tenders.
Chicken tenders, $35. No, I was like steak, like it was like good. Yeah, I left you hanging.
Thanks.
Sorry about that. So then I'm looking at the other side of what is this restaurant rocking? Same thing.
That's fucking hilarious.
Same price.
That's hilarious.
Same thing. Like the menu is exactly the same, just a different name on it. Like you wouldn't know though, right?
That's so
both.
funny.
And then there's like a cafe or something up front, but I never got a chance to go check that one out.
And then
I was given history lessons because that's what I do.
And then last night, was it last night? What's today? Thursday. Tuesday night, I did comedy at the bowling alley, Santa Clarita Lanes. And I get there, and the lady's like, did you bring people? And I was like, I tried. I go, I think I've got like 3 people coming.
I didn't know it was a bringer show.
Right. And she was like, well, I wanted a local person because I was hoping you'd bring talent or people. And I was like, okay.
Oh, so you just using me for bringing people.
Kind of. And I was like, okay, cool. And there wasn't a lot of people there, but whatever. And then I was sitting there, and Jamie, your sister, my sister-in-law, was supposed to come. And I was like, where are you, dude? Because I knew she'd be late. But I was like, dude, where are you? And she's like, it starts at 8. And I go, it starts at 7 on the 8th. And she's like, oh, shit. And she's like truly like 3 blocks away from the bowling alley. So I'm sitting there. Right. I'm sitting there, and I was like, shit. And then Tyler walks in, and I was all,
hey, our son again?
I was like, what the fuck, dude? And he's like, do you have to pay full price to get in if you know a performer? And I go, did they make you pay full price? He's like, yeah. I go, let me buy you a drink. So I bought him a drink, and he's sitting with me. And then your sister's texting me, and I'm doing something. So he just grabs my phone and starts texting her. And I was like, all right, whatever. I don't care. I was like, you can fucking... I go, Brody commandeers my phone. I go, I make Brody answer my phone all the time. Hilarious. I go, I'll give my phone to Dad. And I'm like, as long as you guys don't screw up my massage appointments, I don't care. I go, you're not going to see anything, whatever.
Right.
I go, you might see a couple married comedians that shouldn't be trying to slide into my DMs, but
that's funny.
Fucking, I don't care. I'm not going to do anything because, first of all, why would I fuck around with a married comedian? Anyway, sorry, I digress. So anyways, Tyler comes in and we're talking and I was like, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. And, you know, he was like, oh, your birthday's on Sunday. I was like, let me buy you a drink. And he's like, yeah, we're going to go see Nana and Pop. And I was like, fucking cool. And then
he bolted for Arizona. I forgot his birthday's coming up. Holy shit.
Sunday. He's going to be 24 on Sunday in like 3 days. So anyway, she does this.
I wonder if he's going to Arizona to see his mom.
I don't know.
I just thought about that just now. I bet he is. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh. Anyway, we did talk about it. Anyway, so she has this thing, this like pre-recorded, like, welcome to the world famous Santa Clarita Lane, historical Santa Clarita Lanes and Saugus, you know, blah, 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 blah. Right. And it's all, and, you know, we give it also, the money proceeds, some of it goes to charity for autistic people for opportunity. And of course, as a comedian, I'm like, well, I go, there's 2 people above me. If they don't use it, I'm using it.
Right.
Sure enough, nobody uses it. Right. And then the guy who was directly in front of me, he didn't read the room very well because it was just a bunch of old ass white people. There was only like 25 people there at most, maybe. And they're old and crotchety. And I was like, and he's saying the N-word, which they probably liked. And, called them Karens a bunch. And Tyler goes, hey, Joey. I go, what? And he goes, you got to follow this guy. And I was like, uh-huh. And you could just watch the energy just, which whatever, you're not allowed to blame the crowd. Like, seriously, it is a comedian's job to find out what they think is funny and keep on it. That's your job. So I get on and I go, hey, Pam. I go, thanks for letting me on stage. Am I boring you?
Yeah.
I go, thanks for letting me on stage. I go, first I thought, you know, we were friends and you were just giving me stage time, but now I'm just wondering if I'm just one of those autistic opportunities. And nobody laughed. And I was like, okay. So I went all through. I would get them laughing and I was like, okay, they like these types of jokes. And then I'd start with that vein and then I'd lose them. So then I tell a couple jokes, I get them laughing at another point, and I was like, okay, they like these now. And then they stop. And I was like, God damn. There's a bald dude on the right that laughed at everything I said, him and his wife. And I was like, I fucking like you. And then there was this older lady, and she just looked miserable. And I was like, hey. She's like, what? And I go, you know, I put my butt plug in the fridge for my hemorrhoids. And I go, write that down. You'll need that later. And that made people laugh. She did not laugh. Her table did not laugh. And then so Jamie got there, and then so we're sitting there. Oh, and I go, my oldest son, I was like, he's in the forestry. I was like, yes, I raised a hero. You're welcome. And I was like, he just got married to his first wife. And nobody laughed. They all went. And one guy goes, ooh. And Tyler's laughing. And I was like, oh, my God. And I go, it's not like she's here. But then later, Aubrey did come. And I was like, dude, next time next time you guys are in the audience, I'm fucking doing that joke. And I'm pointing at you. And she's like, okay.
Right.
Because I was like, she's like, I would have laughed. I was like, and then I was like, and then Tyler's like, well, he goes, I feel like you kind of got the most laughs of the night, which is saying something. And John Campanelli was there.
Oh.
And he goes, man, you guys are a great crowd. And I fucking laughed so hard. And then so everything's over, everything's gone. And then Jamie, Tyler, me, and Aubrey we closed the bar down. We were there till midnight.
That's cool.
They turned the lights on us. We were just talking. We were telling stories. You know, I told Tyler how he got me in trouble with Nana because for like a year, you called me Step. You know, you were like 10 and you called me Step for like a year. You remember that?
Yeah, I do.
And then one day I got so frustrated and I turned around and I called him Step back. And he started crying. And he ran up like a little bitch to Nana's house. And like 3 minutes later, my phone's ringing. Joy, you can't do... I was like, he's been calling me Step for like a year. And it hurts you're the adult. And I was like... And he's laughing. He goes, I remember that. And I was like, you're such an asshole.
Little twat.
And I told him that.
Half information given motherfucker.
And then I was like, yeah. And I go, when I first moved in, I was playing your dad's Yahtzee game outside of the bathroom. He's like, that's my dad's pooping game. You're gross. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he hated you.
He was so
In the very beginning, he hated you. Then he liked you. And then his mom made him hate you.
Yes.
And then he hated you until he was like 20.
Yeah.
And then he started kind of liking you. And now he likes you.
Yeah. But we were just telling jokes or just talking. And then I told him about how Brody, when I took him for Cowboy Day, and he was all, I look so fucking stupid. I look so stupid.
That's so funny.
And then, so that was Tuesday night. And then last night, I've been in a book slump. I know you guys don't care, but I really, really love reading a lot. And when you can't find a book to read, it is so horrible. And I found a book last night and I read till like 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm fucked. And I still have like 3,000 more steps. So.
I feel like I rode that festival high until like yesterday, like last night. It's finally started. I feel like I started coming off of that high. You know what I mean? The adrenaline high. So now I feel normal.
Nice.
Yeah. I guess that's it.
I just stared at you for way too long. All right, lick my clit surprise.
If you lick her clit, you'll get a surprise.
What's the surprise?
I don't know. You tell me.
I don't know. Try it.
I will. I'll be happy to.
Like, click, subscribe.
Thanks for listening. Check us out. Tell your friends. We're funny, haha, and stuff like that.
Yeah, bye.
Good day. But we're still recording because they can see us right now.
I know, Jonathan.
So look, they can see you.
Look, they can't see me anymore.
Good day.